I'm just gonna be honest. Since I transitioned talaga, I feel like mas pinakikinggan na ako ng mga tao ngayon. Kasi before, people only listen to me when I'm in drag.
Mhm.
And now, everyone wants me to come out of drag, speak, and represent the trans community. But for me, that's very tricky as well.
Mhm.
Not because I'm afraid to speak for the community, not because I don't want the responsibility. It's because I'm still learning how to be a woman. For someone who has this platform, that's so much responsibility.
Marina, kumusta ka?
Hey, I'm excited.
You're looking good today.
Doing a little walk for you this morning.
Love it. Gusto ko lang balikan yung last interview that you had with us. Sinabi mo na you were in your hyper-feminine conditioner campaign, sobrang sikip era. So, are you
I
still...
said that?
Yes.
That's so stupid.
Are you still in that era or are you
Um,
somewhere different?
I'm hyper feminine conditioner area, yes.
Mhm.
Conditioner era, yes. Masikip. Medyo mas open na siya ngayon.
Okay.
I think that was when was that nga?
That was last
year.
June.
Last year, no? Oo. That time kasi parang mas very, ano pa ako very, I was very in my own world pa it was the very early stages of my transitioning.
Mhm.
Kaya parang ini-embody ko pa yung hyper femininity and I wanted to project that as well. But now mas open na ako na parang I don't have to project femininity. I don't have to project my womanhood because I am a woman, you know? So I don't have to project anything else anymore. Parang
Okay.
ganon.
So you're kind of still there.
Yeah, still there, but mas sure na, mas hindi na siya ini-impose. It's
Mm.
embodying na.
Okay. You made this announcement in February that you wanted to let everyone in into your transition journey. And it took you, well, about a year
Mhm.
to muster the courage
Yes.
to do that. So, may mga dolls na, I guess, helped you prepared also, like your community and your
Mhm.
friends. So, ano yung pinaka-importanteng leksyon na natutunan mo from your friends na you wouldn't have otherwise thought about yourself alone?
I think one of my biggest fear transitioning is not like public perception eh. It's as vain as it sounds yung bagay ba sa akin pag naging babae ako?
Okay.
Ano yun eh, parang totoo siyang question na dinadala ng mga trans woman eh. Especially those people na about to transition. Kasi parang, bagay ba sa akin ang maging babae?
Mhm.
Siyempre, parang lumaki tayo sa society, especially as a queer person, as a formerly gay person, di ba? Parang feeling babae, yung mga ganon na binabato sa amin, especially as a drag queen who's portraying, a feminine character na
Mhm.
parang you're trying hard to be a girl, yun ang mga sinasabi sa amin, or hindi man bagay sa'yo maging babae. So parang dala-dala ko yun when I was going into my transition na parang, bagay ba? And kasama nung tanong na yun yung para sa akin ba to? Is it really for me? Is this really what I wanted to do? And I'm really, really lucky na nagkaroon ako ng strong, a very small circle, but also a very strong foundation. Marami akong mga naging conversation with my trans sisters that really just parang mas na-open yung pananaw ko on what it takes to be a woman.
Mhm.
Hindi siya sa itsura lang eh. It's the essence of being a woman, you know. It's the heart, it's the soul. And I had conversations with my friends na parang, no, you actually, once malampasan mo yung hurdle na yun na parang, bagay ba sa akin maging babae? Parang mas mag-open yung sarili mo to all the possibilities without parang thinking how thinking about how you look, how you act, how parang gaano kahaba ba yung buhok mo, unclockable ka ba? Yun yung number one eh. Parang pag nag-trans woman ba ako, unclockable ba ako, passing ba ako?
Mm.
'Di ba? Parang cis passing pa ako or whatnot. Yun talaga eh. As in, isa yun sa mga pinaka-struggle ko talaga when I was about to transition. So I'm really, really lucky na nagkaroon ako ng support system na pinaintindi sa akin or pinaramdam sa akin na kahit ano man maging itsura mo, as long as you embody being a woman, you are a woman. Bagay sa'yo maging babae.
What's the hardest part about being a woman?
Honestly, yung tanong na yan yung hindi ko pa kayang sagutin. What's the best thing about being a woman and what's the hardest part being a woman? Because I'm still early on in the journey. And para akong dalaga ulit.
Oo.
Para ako nagdadalaga. Para ako nagpo-puberty na parang from being a teenager, parang hinahanap ko pa yung the lady version of Marina. Kasi parang teenager pa ako ngayon na parang, oh my God, bago sa akin lahat. I'm still going through puberty again. Parang ganoon. I'm still changing a lot with my body and everything. So I feel like hindi ko pa siya fully alam kung ano yung hardest part about. Feeling ko nga, hindi ko pa siya nadadatnan eh. Feeling ko nasa early stages pa ako ng pagiging babae. Wala pa ako dun sa kalingkingan ng hirap, ng sarap, di ba? But as a trans woman, as of now, sa stan ng journey ko, I feel like yung pinakamahirap talaga is changes physically and mentally. Ang daming changes.
Mentally, ano yung
Mentally,
change?
napag-usapan namin to ni Kylie sa podcast niya na parang merong times na hindi bigla na lang ako hindi makakatulog for like, I don't know, 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. And I'm just crying.
Oo nga.
I'm just crying. I don't know what the reason is.
For no reason.
Minsan may reason. Manonood ako. Kaya rin nasa social media ako. May mapapanood akong dogs reunited with their owners after 5 years. Ganon. Iiyakan ko yun. Tapos dire-diretso na. Tapos ang dami ko nang maiisip ko na yung I'm so alone. Parang na never ko na-experience before. Na parang sobrang heightened ng emotions ko. And like parang yung battle ko mentally din. Na parang, para siyang everything's on steroids. Parang ganon. Yung emotions ko, yung mga iniisip ko, yung changes sa katawan ko, ganon. So parang for me, as of now, since I'm at the early stage of transitioning, talagang ang daming binabago sa katawan ko. Feeling ko yun yung pinakamahirap for me. Kasi minsan, especially sa work natin, diba? Parang you have to be very professional, especially when you're leading a team as well. You have to be, kailangan logic before emotions lagi, diba? Pero ang hirap as a trans woman na punong-puno ka ng emotions every single day na isasantabi mo yon for the sake of your brand, your career, alam mo yon, your job, basically. Yeah.
That sounds about right. I think women have to think about so many things at once. So it manifests mentally for sure. And I feel like more people need to know that. I want to talk about, I guess may isa kang sinabi where you said na hindi mo mapipinpoint kung kailan mo nalaman na gusto mo mag-transition. Because I think your whole life, medyo pinapag-isipan mo yun, whether consciously or subconsciously. But I want to know, I guess maybe in ways outside of drag, were there ways na you were able to express the feminine side of your identity prior to transitioning?
I don't know. I've always felt like a girl, sa loob ko ever since bata pa ako. And I think nag-manifest yun sa family ko kasi ang tawag sa akin. Sa family ko, hindi ako pinagagawa ng mga male chores. Like, hindi ako pinagbubuhat. Lagi akong hugas ng pinggan, walis, ganyan, laba-laba, gano'n. Parang puro mga pang-girl chores yung binibigay sa akin nung bata ako. And then, ang tawag din sa akin ng family ko, hindi kuya, hindi, yun. Ate girl ang tawag nila sa akin, even mga tito-tita ko. So, parang bata pa lang ako talaga. I was given a chance to express who I really was talaga and what I really feel. hindi sinabi sa'kin kung paano ako dapat umarte, how to act, how to talk, and ano lang yung mga bagay na puwede kong gawin, ano lang yung mga bagay na puwede kong hawakan or whatnot, gano'n. So I feel like in those like mundane things, bata pa lang ako talaga. Even paggawa ng chores, parang feeling ko babae na talaga ako, gano'n. I just didn't have the word for it, the right word for it. Kasi all of it parang for me talaga revolved around drag eh. Parang dun talaga nag-magnify. Parang when I started doing drag, parang dun siya na-magnify na, kaya pala gusto kong tinatawag ako na ate before. Kaya pala ayoko ng mga panlalaking chores before. Ganun na siya when I transitioned when I was doing drag na. What else? Honestly, art, performing, dancing, singing, making the bulletin board ng high school namin, nagde-design sa stage,
Oo.
mga ganon, leading the nutrition month jingle, mga ganon, the typical artistic form of expressing yourself. I feel like at a very early age, I was very open about all of these beautiful things. There's a lot of beautiful things to share to the world. And I've always been in love with beauty. I remember when I was little pa, I used to watch a lot, yung mga kalaro ko or yung mga friends ko, ang pinapanood nila mga, Digimon, ano pa ba yung mga nasa TV, Naruto.
Oo.
Ako nanonood ako, Lifestyle Network. Lifestyle Network, Star World, mga ganyan.
Nanonood ka bang America's Next Top
Top
Model? Oh,
Model.
yes.
Ano pa ba? Cooking with Martha Stewart,
Yeah.
mga ganyan.
Ganda.
Basta lahat, puro ganun talaga. I love beautiful things. I love glamour. I love glamour. I love clothes. I love it all. Even like number one talaga pageantry even eh. I'm a huge fan of Miss Universe. May times pa na uma-absent ako para lang manood ng Miss
Full
Universe.
circle.
Yeah, full circle. Here we are now, diba?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I've always invited, the glamorous idea in my head back then. Without even parang thinking na gagawin ko to in the future or parang magdadrag ako in the future or like mag-host ako ng Miss Universe in the future. Wala yun sa utak ko before. I just love it. I just embody. I just invite it sa kaloob-looban ng puso ko.
Okay. May kwento ako kasi I'm a cisgendered straight woman, but actually so often na misgender ako by so many people. And naapekto ako kasi it's like I'm not part of the queer community. I'm an ally. But even then, as a woman, porket kalbo ako, nami-misgender ako. And it affects me a lot because my identity as a woman is so close to me na I get irritated when people don't see that. And I'm having a hard time sort of accepting a side to my identity that to some people appears masculine. I don't know, how have you made sense of this idea of masculinity that is not being tied to a specific gender? Do you feel that you're still embodying that somehow, or is that something you are sort of really trying to put aside, like for yourself?
It's the latter. I'm really trying to put it aside. I mean, I am not saying that I'm not happy with my life before. I was very, very thankful I went through that. I'm very thankful na I'm a woman with a trans experience. I think that's so powerful. But at this point in my life talaga, like I feel like me as a masculine person before, that chapter is closed. And it's this life that I'm living now, I want to live it like fully talaga. And like I feel you on that. Like even up until now, like ito nami-misgender pa ako nito. Natawag pa ako ng sir. Ganyan. I think especially it's because of my voice as well.
Okay.
And I feel like that's one of like the growing insecurities I have na kasi pag nag-transition ka, ang dami talaga insecurities na
I'm sure.
lumalabas. So you slowly trying to parang push that away. Kasi parang, syempre, you're trying to embody this new life na eh. And when someone reminds you na you don't look like the person you're trying to be, parang ang sakit, 'di ba? Ang sakit niya. So, that's why parang hindi man trying to forget it, but like, this is not me anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I remember there was a very, very sad story. Um, um, this February, diba, I was in La Union. I came out as a trans woman publicly. Then we had a dinner.
Mm-mm.
And then sa dinner first dinner ko yun, we were celebrating and tinawag ako na sir. Yeah, and boobs and all boobs and like I was made up and all. Tapos tinawag ako na sir. Tapos parang after I told the world na I'm a woman, nasa sir pa din ako. And thankfully, kasama ko si Eva Le Queen, my knight in shining armor. Talagang kinausap niya naman. And yeah, they apologize naman. Pero yeah, like moments like those na parang, hindi pa ba enough? Like what I've gone through. Hindi pa ba enough to para alam mo yun, makita nyo na I'm a woman?
Mm-mm.
Diba? Parang what do I have to do? Parang what do I have to change?
Right.
Diba? Yeah.
Okay. As a drag artist, you wear many hats, and you know that. The previous interview that you had with us, you said that drag is one of the most multifaceted art forms, which is its strength. But do you ever wish that as a queer artist, your life could be simpler, or that you didn't have to prove yourself by doing so many things?
That's a very interesting question. Kasi minsan naiisip ko din yan eh. Na parang, what if ito lang yung ginagawa ko? Parang, what if pumirmi na lang ako sa bahay? What if nagsusulat na lang ako? What if, hindi man na lang, parang, what if nagsusulat ako? What if yun lang yung ginagawa ko? What if wala akong, alam mo yun, parang,
Iba yung outlet mo.
what if I have a simpler life? No? What if I have a simpler job? But then again, na-realize ko, yes, yung job ko, it sounds a lot. But for me, it's simple kasi it's something I love. Diba? Pag iniisip ko na parang, ang hirap kasi ng drag talaga. Ang dami mong kailangang gawin to be able to put up a look, a performance, a content, na parang, pwede naman kasi hindi mo gawin, ba't mo gagawin? Pero pag inisip ko, pag hindi ko siya ginawa, parang ang boring ng buhay ko. Parang hindi fulfilled yung buhay ko. And yun nire-remind ko sa sarili ko na parang, yes, my job is a lot. It's too much, but it brings me so much joy as well. It's bringing me so much life. And art keeps me alive.
The grass is always greener on the other side. Yung mga may simpleng buhay, nag-imagine ng mas glamorous, fabulous lifestyle. I guess it comes with the trade.
Pero syempre, I still long for, the simpler times, di ba? Na parang, especially pag when you're going out, di ba? Parang, hindi ka na makaparty masyado, or alam mo yun, very
Maraming
controlled
inaasikaso.
na, marami na inaasikaso, parang you have to be very responsible na din in everything. Pinipicture ko pa rin yung buhay ko sa tabing dagat, alam mo yun, na parang tahimik lang, mayroon akong aso, tapos mayroon akong, alam mo yun, ganun buhay, pero, this is it, baby. This is the life of a showgirl.
As a Sag, I feel like maybe
Yes.
that you have a duty to make yourself heard. I don't know. Do you feel that you identify a lot with your Sag placement?
You know what? I try to understand it talaga. Yung itong mga astrology and all of this like science about the stars. But I never really relate to it eh.
Okay.
Although, yes, the proof is in the pudding na parang, okay, everything that I do is aligned with my Sag placement, diba? Pero parang for me, parang hindi naman yun yung at the back of my mind when I'm doing these things. It comes naturally and it reflects, I guess.
Yeah.
So parang, okay, good. Pero hindi ko siya ginagawang personality. Kumbaga, sorry guys. Hindi ko siya ginagawang personality
Okay.
to justify the good and the bad things about myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I want to talk about your time in Drag Race UK. Yung mga looks mo, you incorporated a lot of Filipino references. And I want to know, meron bang, do you feel like may expectations on certain Filipino artists to showcase their culture or represent their culture in a certain way? And I ask that maybe in relation to your looks, na feel mo ba na may fear na if you go too outside of the box, may misunderstand ka? Like, how do you balance those things?
For Filipino creatives or Filipino artists, I feel like there's always duty to represent where you came from.
Oo.
Meron ganun eh.
Oo,
Meron tayong ganun eh, na parang there's always has to be, parang, kasi we're not that represented. Like, fully, diba, as an artist. Parang, especially pag nabigyan ka ng ganung kalaking opportunity, you have to do it. Diba? Parang, huwag ka nang tumingin sa ibang bagay. Diyan na eh.
Dito na eh.
Nasarapan mo na eh, diba?
Oo.
Pero for me, it was a conscious decision talaga. Hindi siya pressure eh. Na parang, meron siyang konting trying to prove myself eh. Kasi when I did Drag Race Philippines, first time ko sabihin to.
Okay.
Most of the comments that I get was like, hindi siya nanalo kasi pang Western yung drag niya.
Okay.
Na parang, guys, Filipino ako, sinasabi niyo Western yung drag ko. I didn't really get it. Pero nagets ko siya kasi parang, gets kasi this is parang what they see sa mga Western drag queens. Pero ako parang, yes, parang siguro same kami ng drag style, pero Filipino ako, bakit hindi ako pwedeng maging Filipino? Bakit dahil I dance a lot, I talk in some language, ganyan, in different language, ganyan, bakit hindi ko pwedeng i-represent yung Filipino drag? Bakit yun yung ini-impose sa akin ng mga tao na parang, hindi, like, she doesn't represent Filipino drag. Yun
Grabe
talaga.
naman.
Yun ang mga comments sa akin noon.
Okay.
When Drag Race Philippines ended. So, nung nag-UK vs. the World ako, naging, ko siya parang at the back of my mind na, I'm going to prove na I can represent Filipino drag. Not for the people na, alam mo yun, hindi para sa mga taong nagsabi sa akin na hindi ko kaya. It's for the world to see na this is Filipino drag. I am Filipino drag. And hindi ko alam if masusundan pa yun, alam mo yun, kasi sobrang, it was the first time na may pinadala from Drag Race Philippines to compete abroad. And, gusto mong sundan yun. Gusto mong dumag. So I really wanted to help put Drag Race Philippines on the map. On the international Drag Race map, rather. So it was a conscious decision na, especially when you're competing with, different types of drag from different countries, meron ding fear na baka maging homogeneous kami or like, syempre sinasabi ng mga tao, Western yung drag ko, and baka maging homogeneous kami in a way kasi maraming mga Western drag queens, di ba, sa UK vs. the World. So, parang when I was trying to think of a strategy, parang sabi ko like, find it close to your heart, within your heart, na parang ano yung kaya mong gawin. Like, don't think too much outside the box, na parang, just do what you know, diba? And if you know what you do, kahit anong challenges yung ibigay sa'yo, you can express something kasi hindi mo fake yung what you're representing. You know fully well what you're trying to represent. So, I think it really helped me during that time. And also, may fear eh. I remember there was a time na even Filipino fans were saying it's too much Philippines.
Ano ba talaga?
Diba? Exactly. Parang when I was in Drag Race Philippines, parang she doesn't represent Filipino drag. When I represented Filipino culture naman, parang it's too much Philippines. The Western people won't get it. Parang exactly my point. Like I'm not trying to please them. I want them to spark, parang may spark ng curiosity. Like, what is she wearing? Hindi siya parang, what is she wearing? I don't get it. It's more of like, what is she wearing? That's interesting. Those
Right.
are two different parang
Responses.
responses, diba? And honestly, Filipino fans are saying mas yung latter, yung parang what is she wearing? Parang ganun yung
Ano ba yan?
parang ano ba yan?
Oo.
Pero in all honesty, it's yung curiosity ng mga international fans, mas yun eh. Even sa RuPaul, every time I talk to her on the main stage, she always asks about the look.
Mm-mm.
Not because she doesn't, hindi lang dahil hindi niya alam yon. It's because she really wanted to know what I was wearing
Mhm.
and what type of drag I was representing. And she was very curious about it. And she was really happy to see it on the stage. So, yeah, fuck it.
Actually, pinag-usapan namin to ni Erwan Yusaf.
Mhm.
And may parang self-deprecation or parang may feeling sa mga Pinoy na we're not good enough to showcase our culture. And minsan that means punching down
Mhm.
or the scrub mentality
Yeah. Or
aspect.
nagka-cringe sila
Oo.
madalas. Oo.
Do you ever, yung advocacy mo is to bring Filipino drag to the world. Pero do you ever get frustrated having to justify why representation matters?
Yes and no, I guess. Nakaka-frustrate siya. Because going back, yun nga, yung parang it's the same, like, it's your people who are bringing you down, diba? Parang
Mhm.
ganon. Yun yung nakaka-frustrate talaga, na parang
Okay.
the people that you're trying to represent are the ones trying to bring you down.
Mhm.
Pero, on the good side, hindi naman sila big chunk. Hindi naman sila 80% trying to bring you down. It's
Mhm.
like, there's like a pinch of percentage from the 100 yung hindi satisfied about it. Pero ako, parang, ewan ko, since dahil sobrang innate sa akin and hindi ko siya pinipilit, for some reason, hindi ako napapagod, hindi ako na-frustrate. Whenever I was given a chance to be on an international stage, I will let you know that I'm a Filipino.
Oo.
I'm a Filipino. Kahit i-stab ko pa yan sa noo ko, gagawin ko yun.
Oo.
Kasi we don't get to do that every day, diba? And, isa ako sa mga, thankfully, nabigyan ng ganitong platform, ganung mga stages, like, for example, like touring the world or doing a show in Vegas live, diba? Parang those opportunities don't come often. And when you get them, and you're part of the minority, kagaya nga nung sabi ko kanina, meron akong constant duty
Mm.
to represent where I came from because I'm really proud of it. Yeah.
Okay. Meron ka bang responsibilidad na feel mo hindi ka pa prepared for this level of visibility and fame?
Well, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, since I transitioned talaga, like, I feel like mas pinakikinggan na ako ng mga tao ngayon.
Okay.
Kasi before, people only listen to me when I'm in drag.
Mhm.
And now, everyone wants me to come out of drag, speak, and represent the trans community. But for me, that's very tricky as well.
Mhm.
Not because I'm afraid to speak for the community, not because I don't want the responsibility. It's because I'm still learning how to be a woman. I'm still learning more about being a trans woman.
Mhm.
And that's so much for someone who has this platform, that's so much responsibility, But, like, yes, takot pa rin ako up until now to
Mm.
say the wrong things, to do the wrong things, because I want to be a role model
And
to a lot of trans people out there, queer people even, diba? Na parang nakakatakot siya na responsibility, but also may kaba, diba? May kaba. But when I do it, may fulfillment.
Oo.
Gets ta?
Mm-mm.
So there's like a push and pull ng satisfaction and fear as well.
Right.
Fear because ayaw mong magkamali. Fear because ako, personally, I don't know if I 100% know everything about it eh. Or like, marirepresent ko ba fully?
Mhm.
Or intelligently, politically, na tama ang aking community. There's always that fear.
Mhm.
Especially for a baby trans queen like me, diba? So yeah, I feel like the responsibility of being a trans woman role model is still something I'm trying to work on,
Okay.
you know. And we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
I
love
mean,
that.
as early as now, we've been doing things, di ba? So
Oo.
parang, kung ngayon pa lang I'm relatively new into transitioning, I get to speak about my community na on a positive and empowering light. Like what I'm imagining now what I can do if I'm like fully equipped,
Mhm.
you know. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. I want to go back to I guess we've talked a lot about representing yourself, representing the Philippines through drag, and this idea of global affirmation also. To what extent do you feel like yung global affirmation na hinahanap natin from the international community to legitimize or to recognize local drag, hanggang saan lang makakarating yun?
Mhm.
Having traveled the world, having talked to communities from different parts of the world, there's a sense kasi sa mga Pinoy na you want to bring something back.
Mhm.
You want to return something to your
Mhm.
community. Pero ano yung mga limits nun?
Mhm.
Like, being able to contextualize what you have seen globally and to what extent can that be applied here and
Mhm.
to what extent could it not?
Like you said, like I've been able to travel around the world. I've seen how celebrated drag is abroad and how legitimized na ang drag sa ibang bansa. Kasi like the level of opportunities that they get, especially in the US, is something that we're still working on here sa Philippines, di ba? And you kind of want to bring that here, that parang the way they respect drag, parang you kind of want to bring it here na parang ganito sila sa abroad and everything. But also, we also have our own parang drag culture. So parang ang hirap pa rin na ika-copy mo what they're doing there kasi it's a totally different ball game here. Number one, government natin. Number two, ang religion. Diba? So it's really, really hard to replicate what they're doing abroad here. Kasi meron ganitong mga factors that hinders talaga yung pag-legitimize sa drag. Although slowly we're seeing sparks of change naman na mas marami na tayong mga drag queens sa mass media, sa mainstream media rather. So we've been seeing changes naman, like huge changes from when I started. Iba talaga siya ngayon. Before kasi parang ang drag very underground siya. If you know, ganon. Or parang kind of exclusively for the queer community lang talaga siya. For the gays who want to party, maghanap ng aura, nasa nightclub lang. Madalas ang mga drag queens. And then, thankfully, isa ring epekto ng global affirmation is Drag Race. O like itong mga TV shows na to, na dinilan sa Philippines. And we were able to make it our own and make a new drag, parang hindi man make a new drag culture, but like, create this new culture in the Philippines about drag na mas lumawak na talaga yung demographics ng people that support drag. As in, like, hello, we're here.
Yeah.
Like a few years back, walang ganito. So slowly we're changing, I think. But yeah, then again, like it's really hard to replicate, the success of drag abroad here. Yeah, because of the government and the religion and basically the way society works here in the Philippines.
Anong isip mo Western drag can learn from Filipino drag?
A lot of like Western drag queens bow down to Filipino drag. Swear. Like iba yung tingin nila sa Filipino drag. Na kapag may queen from Drag Race Philippines or queen from the Philippines, they know they're gonna bring it.
Mm.
Tayo kasi sa dito sa Philippines, yung drag sa Philippines, we go all out.
Yeah.
All out siya. Hindi siya just a number. It's not just a number, it's a show, baby.
Mhm.
Kukuha yan ng mga dancers, magpapa-costume ng look, pati ilaw, aayusin, pati
Oo.
yung background. Alam mo yun, lahat talaga. The showmanship, yun talaga yung I feel like edge ng Filipino drag. The showmanship and the production and kind of like camaraderie rin. Kasi, di ba, parang saan ka nakakita ng regular show tapos may 6 na dancers yung drag queen, di ba? Parang when I travel abroad, you don't get to see that a lot on regular nights,
Oo.
di ba? But if it's the Philippines, I feel like kasi culturally din, tayo mga bading talaga.
Mm.
Bata pa lang, nagpe-perform na.
Mm.
Mahilig na sa production. Kagaya ng anong sinabi ko kanina. Mga bading ang nagli-lead ng jingle competition ng Nutrition Month, dance competition ng inter-school competition, ng cheer dance, drum and lyre competition. So feeling ko dala-dala natin yung discipline na yon
Sa dugo natin.
sa dugo natin.
Oo.
So in everything that we do, 'di ba? Especially sa drag kasi hindi siya nagkakalayo eh. It's designing, it's performing, it's choreographing, it's singing, it's social commentary, 'di ba? Ang dami niya ang dami niya all boiled into one, and ang daming skill na dala-dala natin or discipline from when we were younger to now that we were doing drag. And also, I think it's very competitive then. Like drag here in the Philippines now, it's very competitive.
More competitive than abroad? Same lang.
I think mas competitive here kasi mas less opportunities. Mas konti lang yung venues to perform for. Pero ang daming drag queens, ang daming magagaling, ganon. And in that way, parang mas nagpapakabugan talaga ang mga wedding, no? Parang survival of the fittest,
Yes.
ganon. Which is also a nice thing to see na parang, look how drag has grown in the Philippines, ganon.
Sobrang bagay para sa atin eh. It's part of the visual but also lived experience ng mga Pinoy. Now, we like to party, we're maximalist,
Yes.
we like to sing. It's the
And we have a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's true. So we've established that there's no joking that Filipino drag is reaching
Yeah,
global
sure,
heights
for
now.
sure.
And ang daming queens na may ambag doon sa mission na yon. Para sa'yo, ano yung message mo para sa gobyerno to have Filipino drag recognized as a legitimate art form?
Just like any other job. At like, ang trabaho ng pagdadrag ay hindi biro, no? I know like for a lot of the people in the government, when they hear about drag, like when they see drag, parang it's just, it's just a funny thing, an entertaining thing. But for us, it's a serious thing. It's our bread and butter. It's life for us. And ang daming performers natin, mga local artists, local queer artists na sila yung bumubuhay sa family nila using drag, 'di ba? Sila ang nagpapaaral sa mga kapatid nila using drag kasi walang ibang other opportunities for them. And this is what they love to do. And a lot of them have been doing drag for 30 years, 20 years, even more than that. And hindi sila sineseryoso. Walang laws or walang anything na pumuprotekta sa trabahong ito. Walang insurance, walang employment standards, wala. Kami lang gumagawa ng sarili naming di ba? Maganda na lang kapag ka nag-breakthrough ka sa mainstream media, you're treated as a celebrity or whatnot, di ba? Pero paano yung mga local queens natin, the heart of drag here in the Philippines na nasa mga bars, alam mo yun, nasa yung puso talaga ng drag na kung saan siya nanggaling. Like, paano naman sila, di ba? Like, asan yung protection nila? Diba? So, I hope in the future talaga magkaroon ng lente ang pagtingin sa drag ng ating gobyerno. Kasi it's a legit work talaga. It's a professional work. I would even say. So yeah, deserve nila ng protection, especially they're um, contributing so much as well to the country. Yeah,
Marina, thank you so much for spending your time
of
with
course.
us,
Thank
and
you.
I wish you the best of luck in everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.